Hi everyone, my name is Hedger. I'm here tonight as the Zero Impact Man. And the reason I'm here is because I care deeply about the environment and what's going on in the world today. It's so important that I've dedicated the last couple of decades of my life to making things better. And what I want to do tonight is share a story with you, a story about my path through this whole environmental catastrophe that we're now facing. One of the things, part of my headspace tonight is wrapped up in going for a big bushwalk tomorrow. I'm heading out for 250 kilometres on the Great Southwest Walk. So what you can see behind me is a map of that walk, and I'm sort of been working for the last 2.5 weeks to figure out how I'm going to carry all of that weight for all of those days. What I want to do tonight is tell you a little bit about my life, take you inside my four walls. This slide here, what it shows is the bamboo out the back where the chickens hang out. Shot there on your right is all the eggs that I found in that bamboo, and there was 98 eggs in that box there. I thought the chickens weren't laying as much. After I started clearing that out, that's what I found, all those eggs. And what's cleared out, the chickens had a great place to have their dirt baths, and you can see the chickens there just rolling around and having a great time. That's baked beans. So there's not much you can't preserve. Basically the rule is if you can eat it, you can preserve it. Some kombucha, which I just started making, that's pretty tasty. That's the stuff I pick out of worm farms. Shredded paper, and those little stickers on the apples and stuff? Yeah, they stay forever. It's a plastic coated crap. Just to be avoided if you can. Those cloth tea bags, they're sort of annoying too. That's what my lunch looks like. Absolutely no packaging. Zero packaging. It's just, I reuse everything all the time. I was digging through my cupboards the other day, and I separated about 7 years ago from my wife, and I looked at the dates on these packets of alfoil and Glad Wrap, and they were dated 2011. That was the year of my separation. I haven't used them since. And I didn't use them then anyway. That's probably what caused the separation. I've been tracking all my money, because if you track your money, if you know where things are going, you can take decisions based on that information. That's all. That's how much rent cost me last year. $23,208. What I've sort of turned that into is down here. I've made this one up, but you can see if you know where your money's going and which companies you're actually putting that cash toward, you can make decisions. Because you might find that you're actually dealing with companies that your values don't align with. In fact, you'll find that in most cases. I've just written a book. I've covered the title up there. It's a bit under wraps at the moment, but it's also a bit sweary. So, but anyway, my book's there. We'll see. I'm planning a trip to walk around Tasmania at some stage soon. That's my planning board. I just want to show you inside my house. That's what all this is about. So you can see why I'm going to pummel you with the next set of information really quick and hard. Some other things, a local IGA supermarket had this in its window. Now in store, cook less, live more. Cook less, live more. That's just a bunch of nonsense. Cook more, live more. Everybody's doing it, are they? I don't think so. Just little observations. Where I go for a swim, they have this little sign out the front that says mouth-watering to satisfy your cravings. So you've just done your workout and then you go buy chips. It just doesn't make sense. There's this junk food shop at the front of the gymnasium. See, we're surrounded by messages that don't make sense, yet we put up with it. Same as this Oxfam box with goodies in it. It sort of defeats the purpose of what Oxfam really stands for. Here's the little smoking area just right next to the bike rack. Just dumb. Anyway, as part of my investigation and preparation for tonight, last year I took a world tour. And I wanted to go to a whole bunch of countries all around the world and find out if I was different. Find out if my message was any different to what other people were telling all around the world. So I did some kayaking in the Amazon, hiking in Peru. I went all over the place. Fishing in Mexico, summit-bound USA. Did some relaxing in Spain. That was pretty cool. Nice place. Sunset Storm in Kenya, so checked out Africa a bit. And then I wanted to get to the point of asking you, why are we even here? Why are you guys here? The world's going down the toilet. What's the problem with the world going down the toilet?
Takes us all with it.
Takes us all with it. And what happens to us when we go down there?
Well, it doesn't, if you value the environment and you value all those things that are so important, it's hard to see other people destroying them around you.
Yeah, and that's what breaks my heart too. I guess the message or the word I was trying to get to was takes us all with it. What are we talking about here? If we're all going down the toilet, what happens to us?
Some people prosper and most people don't.
Yeah,
Most people don't.
exactly. The death. This is a story of survival. If I take any one of these essentials away from you, you die pretty quickly. And what are those essentials? What are the things that we're fighting for? 3 minutes without what? Fresh air. Not polluted air. You die, yeah. Just 3 minutes. 3 hours without what? And you die. And all these things that I'm talking about now are in peril. 3 hours. No, fresh water you get 3 days. 3 hours. Imagine you're up in the snow. You haven't got many clothes. Temperature. Energy. Hypothermia. 3 days. Water. 3 weeks. Yeah. The essentials of life. We miss 2. You see what those 2, anyone want to yell out the other 2? You cannot live without these other 2 things. One you sort of can. But yeah, love. And at the heart of everything I'm talking about tonight is love. When I hear the word sustainability, I translate it into love. Because love is the connection that binds you to all of these things. If you've got love and compassion and forgiveness and you care about all these things, the journey is so much easier. The other thing we missed is we don't survive without biodiversity, other species. It's not just us, okay? It doesn't happen in the city all by itself. So they're the 6 things, they're the essentials. We need them to survive. That's what I do as one of my happy customers, just chatting about a sustainability plan. Okay, now I want to ask you some more questions. Do you agree that this is a climate emergency? We had some discussion around here about that. Are we in agreement about that? Yes. Yeah? What are you prepared to do?
Join groups, write to politicians, advocate, vote,
Yeah?
go to marches,
Yeah, all good things.
role model good behaviour.
Yeah. What's the point which will get you out of your chair? How bad does it have to get? I asked some school kids, some Year 9 kids a couple of years ago about this question, and not one of them could think of an answer. A reason to get out of their chair and hold up a sign and say, stop that. But we just agreed it was a climate emergency, didn't we?
Most people do it when it affects them.
Yeah. Yeah. Sort of like the old climate change thing. It's like, let's see what I've got coming next. No, I won't go there. I thought I had a picture of the snow coming up, but it's sort of like the avalanche. It all looks good, until the sun starts shining and the snow starts melting. But then it falls really quickly. So sit with that just for a minute. I'm going to keep going through the slides, but just think about, what are you prepared to do? You think this is an emergency? What are you prepared to do, and why haven't you done it already? Do you really need me to tell you what those things are that you need to do? Or could you just act? Here's a concept, and I'm going to start flying in a minute, but I just want to get some things grounded. Where I'm going to try and take you from is consumer to steward. We're not going to step through all those little bits and pieces, but I also want to say that each of these slides is probably a 2-hour session by itself. You know, if I really talked in detail about it, I'd really like to have you guys living in my commune for a week or two, and that would be really cool. We'd get to know each other really quite well. But here's where I want to take you to be stewards, and essentially what steward means is you make things better. If there's 100%, you take 80 and you leave 20% for everyone else, future generations. So sometimes it needs a big bash on the side of your head. And what I encourage people to do is, if everyone's going this way, turn around and look the other way and start walking the other way. Everyone will be going the wrong way. This is an interesting one, and this is an interesting way to test your thinking. It's the Good Friday appeal. Now you might just jump to a conclusion. You might not even know why I've got that slide there. I tend to think about it. Imagine yourself the CEO of the Royal Children's Hospital appeal, and your accountant walks in every year and he says, but he's just walked in this year and he says, hey boss, we're a bit short this year. Going to have to run a bit of a fundraiser. And CEO goes, well, what were you thinking? A bit of a sausage sizzle down at Bunnings or something? And you know, the story goes on and on and on, and I won't belabor the point, but essentially he says, well, how short are we? And he goes, oh, 20 million bucks. But my point about this is, you think about this differently. We've already paid for this. That 20 million should just be budgeted through the state government. It's already done. Why are we raising money for it? And imagine if we put that effort into the climate emergency. There's no Royal Children's emergency. There's a climate emergency. Anyway, how do you sort all this stuff out? There's all kinds of information out there. So there's a whole bunch of questions, and I don't want to go through them all, but it is really difficult. If you've ever tried to do anything sustainably, it's near on impossible if you're wandering around to any of our local shops and supermarkets. It's really difficult. But I'm going to give you a few clues in a minute. You know, there's home brand stuff, local and organic, they're Mount Zero olives. You can refill old bottles and cans. You can become the refiller. So I got to the point where I was going to refill the stuff and then look out the back of their shop, and here's the bags and boxes out the back. I may as well just go direct to the bag and box maker. So there is no such thing as no waste, unless you're the guy growing it and getting it into your belly without any packaging in between. That's that guy. So in my rental house, I've planted, I think, 27 trees now. And that's one I just planted a few weeks ago, an olive tree. You can make yourself. There's some just yogurt that I've been making. Oh, that's my real travel map. Sorry, I must have lied to you. I didn't leave Victoria. That wasn't the Amazon, that was just Heidelberg. That was Mount Bogong up in Victoria, just near Mount Beauty. The Mexico shop for fishing was just Frankston. We could all jump on the train and be there. See how beautiful the sunset is down in Frankston. You're all thinking, what's zero impact man doing flying around the world? He ain't no zero impact man. This is Mount Feathertop. This is one of the most beautiful mountains I've ever been on. That's Mount Martha. That was in Spain. That's just Oyen, northwest Victoria. Now what do you think? Yeah, we still got snow. We still got snow. All right. Here's a little test. This is product A. It uses child labour, pays extremely low wages to farmers, uses heaps of chemicals and pesticides, has many negative health side effects, requires deforestation to grow, is controlled by corporations, has massive food miles, requires a lot of energy, produces a lot of waste, is expensive. Hands up if you think that's a bad product. I'll consider that a consensus, a majority. It's coffee. And what do we talk about when we talk about coffee? What's the elephant in the room in the coffee debate? What do we always talk about? What's the most sustainable thing you can do with coffee? No, what's the conversation? War on waste. Has anyone seen War on Waste? What do they all talk about? The cups. But what's the elephant in the room in the coffee debate? I just showed it to you. No. It's the bloody coffee. It's the coffee. You keep drinking coffee if you can find sustainable coffee. Otherwise, move on. Anyway, here's a naughty little coffee shop. They've 14 years, 2 million coffees. They're selling some coffee there. But then you look at it a bit deeper. It's in a bottle shop. You look at it a bit deeper. It's in a Woolworths bottle shop. You know, where do you buy your coffee from? I'm not suggesting you need to follow this chain, but this is the way when I look at these kind of things, I say, okay, that coffee's sold at this place. I wouldn't drink coffee anyway. I'm one of those people who's never had a cup of coffee in my life, ever, not one. Okay, owned by Woolworths, massive supermarket chain, massive pokey owner, massive grog seller, massive soft drink seller, massive smoke seller, but they're the fresh food people, really. Now, if my values are like what I've been presenting to you, would I be shopping at a place like that? Don't have to answer that. What does sustainability look like? I'm going to just show you really quickly into my home. This is all just stuff picked from the garden. And you can see what my sort of cupboards and shelves and stuff look like. I'll just show you a bunch more stuff, a whole bunch of preserved food. I've got over 1,000 bottles of stuff. It's just another view. Divestment of my superannuation fund. It took me about 6 years to get that fully sorted, but I've made the road easier for a lot of people by just following that particular path. There's my superannuation card, cut in half. That was a very good moment. There's my health insurance card, cut in half because that health insurance fund refused to divest from fossil fuels. That's my yard a year ago. That's my yard a month ago. Some apples, vegetables, seed collection. You can see a whole range of different seeds there and seeds I've just collected from my backyard. Pretty easy. There's my chooks roaming around, having a bit of fun. There's a few bikes and stuff. We just mostly use bikes to get around and repair a whole lot of stuff. That's just a shed. There's some tomatoes ready for bottling. I didn't grow all those, but there's peaches. We picked all those peaches and put them in bottles. It's a great activity for adults and kids. More stuff. Whole foods. So you can see there's no packaging. This is how we get to no waste. If you don't buy waste, you don't get waste. Spices, other bottles, all kinds of stuff. If you haven't got any packages, you always end up with a lot of dishes. So I've always got lots of dishes. So if you're going to go down this road, be prepared. You may want to get a dishwasher, you may want to just marry someone who likes dishes. Whatever you choose, but dishes is a natural and normal outcome of being sustainable. Because you don't throw anything out. Nothing. You collect waste of other people. That's just me with a trailer load of other people's stuff. Oh, that's the toilet on the right there. You may not want to piss in a bucket, but it will help if you do. I want to just tell you about one more concept before we really get moving. There's a concept of star ratings on houses, and for the last probably 7 years I've lived in 0-star homes, but my house outperforms every other 10-star home going. It's not the house, it's the people in the house. It's not the house, it's the people in the house. It's what they do.
Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed Zero Impact Man Part 1. Now come along and join us for Zero Impact Man Part 2.